No, I was not. I did get one, as you can see on camera, but I wasn't the ringleader.
Who was?
I don't know. You may have to go watch the film on that one.
What do you tell freshmen and transfers coming in about the level of play specifically in the SEC, and how you have to adapt to that?
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing that if I could tell guys, because you got to think about it, sometimes guys may not actually ask. They may just learn. They may want to just be around guys, watch how they work, watch how they conduct themselves. But if I had to answer somebody, I would just say understand that every team in the SEC is good. And to be honest with you, if I'm being frank, everybody in college football is good. Nobody got to play college football by accident. Nobody is, let's say, on the field by mistake. Everybody's talented, everybody's good, so it's really just understanding that you have a responsibility to make sure that you're prepared, because the time that you think that you can't or you shouldn't prepare is when the time you'll get embarrassed. So,
talk about eating off the floor, and when Kirby says that, what does that mean to y'all?
It's exiting out, all forms of complacency. It's staying hungry. It's making sure that you're grinding. To us, that's what's eating off the floor. So if you're a senior and, you did X, Y, Z in a team run, you shouldn't get to your senior year and feel like you don't have to do that. You should be striving to do more. I think that's kind of like an example or a way to kind of think about eating off the floor. It's working harder than you did previously, not less.
So you talk about speaking of complacency, the study of the All Blacks this offseason. Just what did y'all learn about them, the better never risks, motto, all that kind of stuff? What was your kind of main takeaway?
For sure. So I would say that the one thing that I learned that kind of stuck with me was they talked about sweeping the sheds. So sweeping the sheds for them was quite literally sweeping their locker room and making sure that it was clean. So that was coaches, captains. It didn't matter who you were. But primarily the leaders per se were the main guys that were like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to make sure this is tidy, like we're good. And they kind of talked about when they stopped doing that is when they started to lose focus and when they started to actually lose games. And that stuck with me because I feel like for us, we have to make sure that we're intentional on making sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
Is there a version of what you guys do that's sweeping the sheds?
Is there a version?
Yeah, like is there something that you guys do that doing the small things that no one else does?
I mean, quite literally cleaning the locker room. That's one. I can't necessarily think of anything specific, to just Georgia. I'm pretty sure it's the same all over the country. Everybody's, aiming to do the little things right.
Quarterback questions. Have you gotten more or less than you expected?
Can you say that again?
Quarterback questions. Have you gotten more or less when you made the rounds here?
Actually less, because I'm probably going to answer it the same way. Like I know about as much as y'all. So
how does it compare to the other seasons where there's been a competition in terms of what did you learn from those in terms of expectations from the outside versus in the locker room about how it might play out?
Okay, so if I'm understanding your question properly, are you asking me about expectations over the years?
Yeah, with the quarterback, when all the eyes are focused on that.
So that's a good one. I would say that typically it's having a level of belief in the guy that's behind you, and to be honest, not even just him, but also the guys around you. I think once you are somebody that's working with someone, you're watching them work, you're watching how they prepare, you're watching the film, recovery, whatever they're doing, that creates a level of confidence. And a lot of times what we kind of forget is that although people may doubt you, they aren't seeing that. You get what I'm saying? They only see what you put on Saturday. So to be honest with you, if you give somebody that, I guess, that space to judge you in that way, you can't necessarily get mad because that's all they see. So I think that's the biggest thing as far as expectations, is just understanding that expectations have nothing to do with how you prepare, how you handle yourself. It's more so, to be honest, just what people see on the surface.
One of the biggest arguments for the divisionless schedule was debates was that Georgia's never come to College Station to play A&M. Is that something that you're disappointed in, that you haven't come to College Station, or is that you haven't been able to go to all the SEC schools by the time you graduate?
To be honest with you, it's one of those things I look at. If it's meant for God to happen, it happened. I of course, I think every competitor, it would be lovely to play everywhere, but that's not realistic. That's not a realistic thing. If that was the case, where everybody was just playing each other, I don't think that would be very good for us, just for the simple fact of, I think after a while, if you're playing, what is there? How many teams in the SEC? What, like 14, something like that? Yeah. So if you're playing, 13 teams, every week, it gets a little bit, rough. It's very similar to, like, at that point, kind of how like NFL, like every week they're just going. And I know a lot of the teams go through that in college football. So to be honest with you, it would be lovely to play everywhere in the SEC. I think that a lot of places have a lot of great places to play as far as the stadiums, but to be honest with you, I don't think that's really like feasible to play everywhere every week. I think at a certain point it's just like, at what point is there a cutoff, if that makes sense?
Sedrick, Brock seems pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is he naturally that shy?
Yeah, he doesn't do cameras very well, which is why every time he's been in front of me, I've recorded him just to make him more uncomfortable. But no, he's a good guy. Like, he's not comfortable around cameras, just to be honest with you, but it's just because that's how he is. Like, around us, like, he gets upset, like, when we like, oh my gosh, you're Brock Bowers. Like, he hates that kind of stuff. So for him, it's just, he really just wants to be like a regular guy. He wants to just be Brock.
Regarding
One more question.
the sweep the sheds mentality. What have you seen from your teammates as far as not literally sweeping the sheds, but putting that into practice of being humble and not getting big heads?
So I think it starts with a lot of things. So you could, like you said, I know you didn't say that, but it could be the quite literal staying after practice, cleaning things up, but it could also be, hey, stop and take a picture with a younger kid that's maybe outside the facility, or maybe if you're in a grocery store, people want to stop and talk to you. Which, to be honest, a lot of times you may have had a terrible day and you don't want to do that, but it's having the humility to realize that this person may really look up to you, or this person may really just want to have an opportunity to talk to you. And just kind of doing things like that I think allows people to kind of see, some of the mantras of the All Blacks.